Hi, I'm Aspen Atkins, and you're listening to the Shepherd Revolution podcast.
Hey, this is David, and welcome to the Shepherd Revolution podcast. I'm so excited that we are continuing our series, Teaching to Change Lives. My guest has one of the most interesting professions that I've ever learned about. As a death investigator, she is tasked to go and identify bodies and interpret the cause of death. She is the real deal CSI. As also a graduate from Otero Junior College, a dog mom, and a fitness enthusiast. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, please welcome my guest, Aspen. Aspen, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
That's awesome. So, being a death investigator, right? When you first told me, I was like, this is one of the most interesting things I have ever heard, because I've never heard anybody do this ever. What was the path that led you to becoming a death investigator?
Well, I get that a lot. A lot of people are surprised to see me as a death investigator, but it basically all started in high school. We had to do a career project, and I always loved anatomy, and weirdly enough, I like to dissect things. And so I looked into the coroner position, and it was really interesting to me, and I kind of just made it my goal ever since to follow that path. And then throughout internships, training as an autopsy technician, working at a funeral home, working with other investigators too, I just quickly learned that, that was my path. That's just where I was meant to be. So I am living my dream job.
Wow, that you're living your dream job. What is the most interesting thing that you've encountered while doing this profession?
Every day is just interesting in its own way. It's always different and challenging in its own way. I'd say, I've seen the most gruesome things you can ever think of or dream of. But I'd say, working with families, I've seen all kinds of different sides of families. So that is probably the most interesting or challenging part of my job, is just working with grieving families and knowing how to be there, to support them, not overstep. So that's probably the biggest challenge. But I've seen anywhere from, infants to probably 105-year-old human beings. So.
And has it how's your psyche? When I think about this, I watch, some of the Gladiator movies and I see it, right? But I know it's fake. I know it's scripted. Being in there when it's your reality of every day, how has it impacted how you see the world, or has it impacted your mindset?
Definitely. I think it makes me more grateful and appreciate everything in my life, and just, grateful to be alive in general. I kind of have to detach from scene to scene, just because sometimes it gets so hard. I just can't take on all of those emotions all the time, or all those feelings, otherwise it will get to me. But that's part of the job too. You just have to kind of put it aside, but then also rely on your peers to talk about it too and get through certain things. But it's definitely a different career choice. It's never boring. So that's what I love about it too. But therapy is always a good option too. So, and luckily our job offers that too. So.
Yeah, I would definitely hope that, because it's re-traumatizing in a way of just constantly seeing it. Wow. Yeah, and you enjoy this. And that is interesting because I never thought about these things. And it's always fascinating to learn what people are passionate about. And what about this, being a detective, a death investigator, do you enjoy the most? Is it the understanding the cause of death? Is it what's the most interesting part?
Well, I love just seeing or learning about the story from start to finish. So I have to figure out everything in between, medical history, just everything that led up to this moment, depending on what it is. But I'd say my favorite part, even though it's the most difficult part, is just talking with families and being there to support them, because they're going through the worst day of their lives and they have to see me. So, I try to just give everything that I can, and that's my favorite part. I just like to be there for them, even after that day is over, check up on them and make sure they're doing okay, just provide them enough support and assistance that I can. So that's my favorite part of it, just being there for them.
So being there for the families and adding that extra layer of support as they go through, like you said, the worst days of their lives, or worst day of their life, and following after. So when you think of teaching to change lives as a death investigator, as someone who's in a profession who's constantly seeing realities of life, you talked about gratitude. Like, when you think of teaching to change lives, like what comes to mind for you?
What comes to mind for me is just probably just setting a great example for everyone. Like, a lot of men do this job, or it's expected that men do this job over women. So I like being a woman figure in this job and just showing, girls can do it too. And then just, empathy. I think the world needs more empathy, just to feel more empathetic towards one another and just understand what's going on, because you don't know what's going on in everyone's lives, like day to day. So empathy and just being grateful for your life and just having a different perspective. Like, it could be my last minute now, tomorrow, tonight, anytime. So just, I don't know, love as much as you can, live, laugh, do it now. So
wow. Oh, that is so powerful. When you think of like teaching to change, like oftentimes people say, think of educational, but you're seeing the opposite of life. You're seeing death on a daily basis, and that haven't made you more cynical. It's actually made you more grateful and express more empathy and be more present in the relationships and the things around us. So that is so dope. So Aspen, when people are listening to this podcast and they're like, oh my God, I want to talk to Aspen. She's so interesting. Like, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Facebook. My name's Aspen Atkins. I believe my username is Atkins Aspen. So I'm pretty easy to find. If you have questions or just want to know more about it, or if you want to go down this path too, I'll be there every step of the way. So,
well, thank you so much for being a part of the show, Aspen.
Well, thank you for having me. It was awesome talking to you.
Awesome. And I want you all to remember something. Be the solution to the education evolution.
Shepherd, 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 shepherd revolution. Shepherd, 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 shepherd revolution.
Hey, it's David Prosper, and welcome to the Shepherd Revolution podcast, a show for educators, parents, and those out-of-the-box shepherd leaders doing education differently. I want to say thank you for leading the education evolution. We are bringing practical strategies, systems, and solutions to help you thrive as a revolutionary shepherd.
Shepherd, 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 shepherd.